Welcome. It's good to see you. Welcome to the Genius Project. So today's our meet and greet. We are officially without, 7 of our friends, I think, that we'll be meeting on Monday when we all congregate again. Yeah? So, but today is just kind of fun. I want you guys to get faces and names, meet each other, interact a little bit. I thought we'd do some fun stuff. And I just want you to kick back. I want you to enjoy yourself. And a couple poems came, said they wanted to be read at the beginning of today. This one's called A Divine Invitation. You've been invited to meet the friend, and no one can resist a divine invitation. And that narrows down all our choices to just 2. We can come to God dressed for dancing, or be carried on a stretcher to God's ward. So it's called A Golden Compass. Wise words from Hafiz, Persian poet. Forget every idea of right and wrong from any classroom, from anything that ever taught you, because an empty heart, a tormented mind, unkindness, jealousy, and fear are always the testimony. You have been completely fooled. Turn your back on those who would imprison your wondrous spirit with deceit and lies. Come, join the honest company of the king's beggars, those gamblers and scoundrels and divine clowns. And those astonishing fair courtesans who need divine love every night. Come join the courageous who have no choice to bet their entire world that indeed, God is real. And I will lead you into the circle of the beloved's cunning thieves, those playful rogues, the ones who you can trust for true guidance. Who can aid you in this blessed calamity of life anyway? Hafiz says, look at the perfect one, at the circle's center. He spins and whirls like a golden compass, because all that is rational, everything is beyond rational. To show this dear world that everything in existence does point to God. That was gorgeous. So welcome to the rogues and the courtesans and the beggars and the divine thieves. It's pretty good stuff. Nice, guys. You give him a hand for the drumming, huh? Right on. Cool. Ready? You gonna take it out? Cool. You guys like the drums? We're gonna be doing a lot. Drumming classes on Tuesdays. You're welcome to go. And I think the school, we're gonna see about investing in some djembes. You gonna steel drum? You gonna learn how to play it? All right, cool. So for those of you who have met me in a long time, or those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm Wesley, and I'm sort of the leader of this ragtag band of geniuses that we're going to be cultivating. And we've got a really amazing 3-month journey set forth for you, and we're going to be doing some very, very cool things. Many people in the room are on our staff. They're going to be helping out. Rob comes up from Tucson. He's on staff. Sam is on staff. Greg is on staff. Lulu's on staff. Kelly's on staff. Carly's on staff, but in a limited capacity for the next couple of months. Jacob is on staff. Andrea is on staff. Chris is on staff. Joe is on staff. Alexis is on staff. So a lot of times we'll have them helping you guys out, jumping in, leading things, coordinating, that kind of stuff. So sometimes it'll be me, sometimes it'll be them, but it's going to be a community effort. So we're looking forward to that. If you know what dyads are, because you don't want to do next, stand up. You know what dyads are. All right, cool. All right, so let's do this. Each one of you standing, go grab a new person, and then we'll do some quick dyads. So turn around, go grab somebody, use their workshop with nickname. cowbell. Hey Cameron, how's it going? Good, man, welcome. Joe, baby. And then we're going to set up for a story. So we're going to set up for a story. So I need my musicians over here to my right.
Gotcha.
We're going to take you into a story. The stories always talk to us. They get in under the intellect. Once upon a time, once underneath a time, once beside a time that wasn't this time. In a world that's not so far from ours, lived a simple man of simple needs, and his name was Isaac. And Isaac lived moment to moment, and he accepted what life gave him, and he was always grateful for what he had. And then it happened one night. Isaac had a dream. And in that dream, a voice spoke directly to him, telling him it was time to go to a distant city. And if he ventured to that city, if he went to that city, if he went to the center of that city, he would find a bridge, and that bridge would lead to a royal castle. And the voice told him to dig underneath the bridge, and there he would find a great treasure. And this great treasure would change his life. But when Isaac woke up, he shrugged it off and said, "A dream is just a dream." But on the following night, Isaac had the same dream. And in the same dream, it told him to go to a distant city and dig underneath a bridge in that distant city where he would find a great treasure. And because the dream had come back a second time, he mentioned it to his friends. But they said, "Isaac, you know, a dream is just a dream." And so Isaac listened to them, and he just continued on like nothing had happened. But then, you already know this, the dream, it came a third time. And so it happened, the dream came the third time. And this time, Isaac decided he'd better take and heed the message. So what did he do? He left his hut. He left his job. He left his friends. He left behind everything he'd ever known. And so Isaac, he began to walk. He began that long walk along that long road to the city described in the dream. And Isaac walked all day, all night, as the city was far away. And he had nothing to carry him but his feet. And he walked, and the wind blew, and the road put dust upon his feet. The dust was in his clothes, it was in his hair, and he started to look bedraggled, he looked a bit tattered. and his shoes wore thin, and they were starting to expose the soles of his feet. But still, Isaac kept walking. He kept walking. He kept following that dream. And eventually he arrived at the city. And the city was far away. And wasting no time, he went straight into the center of that city. And he found that bridge. That bridge that led to the royal castle. But before he could approach it, he saw before him there were soldiers guarding the bridge, like a homeland security. And Isaac knew it would be unlikely that they would allow him to go down and start digging underneath that bridge. And so, not knowing what else to do, he began to pace back and forth in front of the bridge day in and day out, in his tattered clothes and his bare feet. And for now, we're going to leave Isaac there pacing back and forth. And we're going to pick up the story later. So this story is about a dream. And take a moment and let the story sit with you. See where you are in the story. See what jumped out at you. These old stories, they're transmissions. And you'll find yourself kind of drawn to a piece in the story, a place in the story. Something will grab your attention. Just take a moment and feel what that might be. See where you are in the story. See where that story is speaking to you. These stories, they're like a Rorschach test. You put yourself exactly in it where you need to be. You'll find yourself at this specific place. And in story time, maybe it's only a couple minutes or a couple days. In your life, it could be months, years, decades that you're in this part of the story. So let's take some shares. Where do you guys find yourselves? What's standing out? What sounds curious about Isaac and following his dream? Callie?
For me, it's not just the acting upon the dream, it's that not even the believing, it's like the knowing that there's something there. That, yeah, it's like a knowing. It's more than believing, it's knowing. That's just what.
Yeah. So you're picking up on Isaac by the third time. The third time's the charm, right? Yeah? Somewhere in the third time, he's got this knowing. Like a faith, huh? Yeah? Like a faith. There's a difference between a belief and a faith. Do you guys know that? Yeah? A belief is trying to align your thoughts and emotions and ideas with something else that already exists. You're trying to leaf it. Yeah? Faith is an openness to the mystery, an openness to the spontaneity, the openness to the dream, to set you on a road. The road was already there, by the way. Did you pick that up? Isaac didn't have to build the road. The road was already there. Yeah? There's something about faith, I think. The openness to that spontaneity, the openness to that mystery. You know? When I think of faith, I think of stuff that we have no control over. Like if I want to bake a cake, my job really is to get all the stuff together and put it in and mix it or fold it in the order it's supposed to go in. And then when it goes in the oven, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do at that point. Right? That's like faith to me. Right? I'm just going to have to presume that the preparation was correct. And this other thing, which I have nothing to do with, bakes the cake. Right? Because it sounds funny. Oh, I believe in cakes. You know? It's like this third thing comes in. This third thing that carries you along. Even when the soles of your feet are worn out and you're dusty and you're looking bedraggled and tattered. So. Good. Somebody else. Who else is in this story? Hi, Kiara.
Hi.
We just did Isaac. Come on in. We'll get you a nickname in a minute. Who else? Alexis.
For me, I noticed that at the end of the story where he's on the map to the bridge, I noticed that was where I was when I first met you, and the workshop. If this story were to come up,
Mm-hmm. You were pacing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pacing.
You were pacing back and forth. So you recognize, you look back at an earlier time and you realize
That was me.
you were at the foot of the bridge pacing back and forth, wondering what to do. How many of y'all been there? Pacing back and forth? Right? Do I stay in this relationship? Do I get out? Do I go to school? Do I not? Do I get involved with the Genius Project, or is it a cult? Yeah? Right? Have you had this? Do I move out? Do I move in? Yeah? Do I cut my losses? Do I go all in? Right? We're pacing back and forth. What to do, what to do, what to do, what to do. It's funny though. Isaac knows what to do. Right? He knows. The dream told him. But still, what? Hang time. Back and forth, waiting. We fret, you know? Ah, that's good, huh? He has the faith, but his beliefs, they're getting in the way, right? Because the Homeland Security people are up there, right?
Questioning whether you should act or just wait.
What's he going to do? Yeah, so interesting, right? We start with faith, right? And then we get to a point where we got the belief. It's interesting, huh? It's in there. Yeah, pacing. Good. What else? Where are you guys in the story? Where's it at? Where you got your attention on? Crux, what you got?
Oh, I was just trying to decide if I think I'm back with my friends.
You haven't even, you're still at the second dream.
Yeah, I feel like for me, where I'm in the story, is I've always, maybe I'm my own friends, because my friends would be very supportive of any dreams I have, but I don't know, I just feel like I'm back, like holding myself there, like finding reasons not to pursue the dream because I'm not a big fan of risk. Or I was just kind of considering like the risk too, like when he goes through all this and he finally gets there, and then there's just another obstacle, and there's still all this risk, and like gosh, I might, that's for not really. I mean, you look at all that way, you kind of have to slow it down, but
Yeah. So for you, it's pre-journey. We're still back in the dreams are coming stage.
well, maybe I'm on the road because I'm here, so I just set out on the road,
Yeah. So you bring up something, the second dream. A dream is just a dream. Your friends don't want you to change. They're very happy with how you are. Don't go transforming on them, they'll freak out. Yeah? Don't transcend, don't get deep. Don't change for the better. You're allowed to change for the worse, because then they feel like friends, because they have something to rescue. If you go shit side, they're very happy because they want a new rescue, right? Don't get healthy. They'll have none of that. Yeah? I know it's your friends, but it's true. Yeah? We've been dealing with this a lot, haven't we, guys? Yeah? You start getting upgrades because your old friends can't take it when you make big shifts. You start getting compassionate, your heart gets wider, right? You start being more tolerant. You stop putting up such hateful messages on your social media. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you like my Trump-hating post? Or whatever it is, right?
it's so true.
Yeah. So there's something interesting, right, about that second dream. The friends are saying, oh, Isaac, Dream's just a dream, man. Don't be going on the road. Yeah? I can totally relate to this. Anybody else in the room? Right? You tell your friends, yeah? And by the way, you get real clever. You'll find out there's some friends you go to, and you tell them what you're going to do, and they back you up, and you go, oh, that was confirming. But you can start running into the opposite. Sometimes you go to friends, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like, that's a dumb fuck idea. Thank you very much. It's exactly what I have to do. Yeah? So you have those friends too. If I tell my dad anything and he disagrees with it, I'm like, oh, sweet, I should totally do this. Right? So start realizing that's really good news. Because you got some people in life who just look at you and tell you what a terrible idea. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you. And then you go do exactly the opposite. Yeah? So that'll be a fun thing for you to start looking out for.
Freudian in there for me, because I know you didn't say it, but I heard you say, thank you very much. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good slip. It's a good slip. Good. Who else? Who else finds themselves in the story? Joanna, what touched you there? Where are you at? Where's your...
Just the ending, the big boom, the awakening,
Mm.
how you ended the story. That's kind of where I'm at. Like okay, you're awake. What are you going to do with it?
You guys know the story's not over, right? Something's going to happen. You find yourself there. What's going to happen? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just moved here and...
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
What is going to happen?
Ah,
It's fun though.
it is?
The not knowing it's fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's
So
really
it's
exciting.
exciting.
It is exciting.
I think there's two.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Somebody else?
I'm with Homeland Security.
You are Homeland Security, or you're with...
We're on the bridge.
Oh, you're at the bridge? Yeah, you're eyeballing up the soldier?
Yeah.
Wondering if you're gonna... Is that what it is? Yeah. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess there was this period of moving forward and kind of going, okay, I'm going to humor the dream, I'm going to go with it, and trust it. And now I'm encountering these massive, seemingly impenetrable obstacles. I have a suspicion they'll end up, I know this story, unfortunately. I have a suspicion they'll end up going the route of Homeland Security. But, yeah.
Nice. Good. Robert? Yeah, Nicole? What you got? Where you at?
For me, it was when he picked up and left everything behind.
Mm-hmm. What strikes you about that? Where, if we zoomed in on that moment and we spread it out a little bit, where are you?
I don't think it's so much as starting over. I don't know, it's just like following.
The starting out?
Yeah.
Find yourself starting out. Yeah, in some ways that's true, right? You're coming back. We haven't seen you for a while. You're back. Yeah. Kind of interesting, huh? Isn't it neat? Everybody's at a different place in the story. Yeah. Dealing with a slightly different element of what's going on. Kind of cool. What struck you, buddy?
Pacing. I don't know. I found myself kind of appearing in multiple places throughout the story. And yeah, mostly the pacing. I feel like I've been like in hang time for a while. Got a pretty good feel of instinct of what feels right, but at the same time, I've been hanging out with my friends too long.
Lots of pacing.
Yes, lots of pacing.
Lots of pacing back and forth. Siding with that belief instead of going with that deep faith, huh? Right on. Robert, Greg, Lulu?
If anybody who's ever watched Napoleon's Last Airbender, okay, yeah, a couple of chuckles. I feel like a little arrow is being sat down with tea with these Homeland Security. That's what I do. I sit down with the officers.
Yeah, you want to go sit down with the...
I don't
With
want
the guy?
to, but I make
You're-
good friends.
Yeah, you're going to try to make friends with him? All right.
That's what I do.
listening to most of the friends.
To the old friends, no.
Cool.
I try and drag them along.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Joe.
The part where he walked through the soles of his feet and shoes. I don't know, it made me think is like he gave up all his comfort and home and everything.
Mm.
And it wasn't the physical things that got him there, it was him, like his body.
His body.
He
Yeah.
made you do it. Even if like everything else there. Yeah. Like it was more than all the things you got to do.
Yes. Yes. And there's some suffering involved in the story. There's time involved in the story. Right? There's some challenge to it. And it might come back. The challenge might come back. Something might not go the way you think. That's what's really cool about these old stories is they don't have an ending like you expect. Way better than American film. Yeah, way better. Yeah, and they always have it. There's always a little bit of a twist.
Doesn't tie up in a little bow.
Yeah, not always. This one will have a little bit of a more happy ending than some of the stories we're going to work with, but there's still something going on. So that's the big question, right? Are we following the dream? Is there a dream inside? The answer is yes. The dream was agreed upon and seeded in you before you arrived. We're going to look at the mythology of that as the weeks unfold. But it's always been there. It was right out in front when you were a kid, and it was right there. And your parents found it because the moment they found it, they probably shut it down. Does anybody remember this moment? Right? There you were, being it, doing it. It's like that contrary army we just talked about, right? Some people are telling you that that's right by the opposite. Right? Because everything was open, everything was fresh, there you were, it was all coming out. And then somebody came along and said, don't do that. That's too much. Sit down and behave yourself, be quiet. Don't talk like that. What are you doing? Give me that, you're messing it up. Right? Anybody hear these things? Yeah? Or maybe there was nobody there at all. So you had nothing to bounce it off of. It was happening, but then it wasn't seen. That's going on with you a little bit, right? There was some sort of inner exuberance, do you remember? There was something you knew as a kid. There was something you knew when you were young. And at some point, it either started running contrary to what was happening, school, church, family, life, friends. But it's there. And for most of you, you can still find that thread. That's what we're trying to get down to. That's what everything's going to be about. Finding that golden thread. Because it runs the whole time. It runs all the way through. And we're going to give it lots of names. The genius, the daimon, the guardian angel, the brilliance, the muse. Carly had to go to work, but Carly's going to show up. The spirit guide. Because I'm going to bet for everybody, there's like some sort of little reminder. There's something in the way, way, way back. And you can venture off so far, and then life has this really amazing way of like course correcting you back. You know, you can't get too far. There's only so much leash on that golden thread. Then it pulls you back on course. Because it's bigger than you. And it's happening on your behalf. We can't stray too far. It needs to come out. It wants to come out. It must come out. And if we believe too much in our self-concept, right, that's when you really start getting a lot of tension going on, right? So you got to let go. You got to relax a little bit. You might have to open up. Do you see it? And that's the other thing. Everybody will see it except you. You'll be the last one. You'll be the last one to get it. And because everybody else can see it, that's why we're building community. Because for some of you have to rediscover, you have to be reminded, you have to be remembered. I love this word, remember, to relink, to put back together. Yeah? What we're going to do is called 2-Minute Talent Show. You have exactly 2 minutes to share with your partner something that you can do that you're going to be able to teach them how to do that's somehow special and unique about you. So you got some skill, some trick, some fun thing you know, but you have 2 minutes to show them how to do it. All right? Now, with some proficiency, because we're going to grade them, not you. All right? All right, so you got 2 minutes. So, I'll give you 15 seconds to get your wits about you. So, the person going first is in the teacher role. All right, so you got to teach them some unique, fun, genius, brilliant, amazing, talented, killer thing that only you know how to do. All right? All right, here we go. All right. And
Only you in the room or only you at home?
That's a good.
you got to be able to keep it in the room.
That's what we're talking about.
You can go outside if you need space. And 2 minutes. Let's finish the story. Let's finish the story. So you guys remember what was happening? Isaac was pacing, right? So we're leaving our time now. Heading into another time. A time beside this time. And so we have Isaac pacing back and forth in front of the bitch, day in and day out, his tattered clothes and his bare feet. And after a time, Isaac was finally approached by the captain of the guard, who had noticed him walking in his back and forth. And he asked, "What's happened to you?" And Isaac explained he had had the same dream 3 times, telling him to come to this bridge, and that the dream had told him that if he dug at the base of the bridge, he would find a great treasure. But now he was afraid to approach the bridge because of you, the captain, and all these soldiers who were guarding it. And the captain said to Isaac that someone your age ought to know better by now. That he was surprised to find Isaac acting in such a foolish way as to be following a dream. After all, the captain said, everybody knows that dreams don't mean anything. As a matter of fact, I had a dream several nights ago myself. And in that dream, a voice told me I would meet a man named Isaac. And if that person called Isaac knew enough, he would go back to the village, back to the hut where he came from. And if he looked behind the hearth that was in the back of his hut, he would find some loose bricks. And if he loosened those bricks, he would find a tremendous treasure right there in the very place he traveled from. And Isaac simply bowed and said, "Thank you very much." And so Isaac, he turned around and he started hurrying along that same road, back to the village, back to the home he had come from, back to the home he had left behind. And the journey home, it was just as hard, it was just as arduous as it had been on the way out. But Isaac had nothing to go on but the soles of his feet. And when he got to his village, he went straight to the hut and straight to the hearth at the back of the hut. And sure enough, behind it, he found some loose bricks. And he pulled out those loose bricks, just like in the captain's dream. Just like the captain had instructed him. And behind those loose bricks, he found a great treasure that had laid behind his own hearth the whole time. And what did Isaac do? What would you do? Would you do what Isaac did? He took that treasure and he built a magnificent looking building out of stone in the midst of a forest. And inside the building he built a hall, but not to show off, but to invite friends and neighbors. And when they came, Isaac would ask them, "Have you had a dream?" And the people, they shared their dreams. And Isaac would sit with them and discuss with them their dreams. And soon enough, everyone was working on their dreams. And people were making journeys. Not on promises, but on their dreams. And Isaac's dreams, they led him to be the keeper of dreams. And that's who Isaac is. The keeper of dreams, the interpreter of dreams. And that's the story of Isaac, who, as far as I know, is still there in that house, built there in that psychic house where people share their dreams. So that's the story of Isaac, the interpreter of dreams. So take a moment and sit and see where you are in the story. See what struck you. See where you might be. What it might all be saying. Who'd like to go? What struck you now? Kelly?
Just at the end when he invites others to share their dreams.
Yeah. A lot like what we're doing here, huh? A lot like what we're doing. It seems like it's Mesa, but this is that hall. You know? And everybody in the room is Isaac. And everybody's interested in everybody's dream. If you could have done it on your own, you would have by now. It takes a little bit of community, which we're going to talk about. There's a reason why the strategy of doing it on your own isn't going to work anymore. That worked for about 40,000 years. You happen to be living at a time where that hero energy isn't going to get you where you have to go anymore. We're going to have a lot of talks about that. Andrea.
It's when after the moment he discovers the treasure and starts building. I think that's where I'm at. I think I discovered.
You discovered.
My own gifts, and now I'm in grad school and I'm building this and I'm getting involved in this. I think I'm building.
You know, these stories, there's a lot of wisdom in there, right? I love it. It doesn't call it a fireplace. What do they call it? The hearth. What's that sound a lot like? The heart. And where did a fireplace used to be in a home? Right in the center. Right in the heart of that home. Right behind the hearth. Right behind where? Right behind your own heart. And the treasures that are hidden in there. The deep laid genius. The brilliance.
To me, that's what really run through listening to the story. He goes on this journey, leaves home, and comes back and is like, oh, well, this treasure's been here all along.
Yeah.
You come back to yourself.
He had to come back to himself.
Yeah.
Part I'm at in the story is knowing where the gifts is and knowing what they are. It's just taking that brick out and unlooking it.
You think you're reaching for the brick? Let me rewind a little bit. So I want to know, was it behind the hearth the whole time?
No.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
I think it was the courage to claim it or to say yes to it. To something that like healing. I want to heal like that. I knew that was my purpose, but then it was like, I'm not gonna be a good psychologist, and the story that we tell ourselves, and it was just like the courage to like, I'm finally gonna step up and follow my dreams. And like I'm gonna apply, I'm gonna get involved, I'm gonna get trained to do everything, and that's I think where the building.
Do you remember when you were at the bridge?
I think I was sitting on your couch.
The bridge is at my house.
I was complaining to you that I was like, I can't do this. And I was wanting to go into what do I do after my bachelor's? And you just looked at me and you're like, go get your doctorate.
Oh, Nicole was there that night, right? You guys, it was a master class night, wasn't it? Yeah. So you were at the bridge
On your couch. And
about a year ago.
yeah.
Oh, we were talking about life purpose. And you were going on and on. I don't know what to do. Right, yeah. Yeah. So that makes me the captain in that moment.
It does.
That makes me the captain. Yeah. Go back. Go back to what's already here. Yeah. I'm feeling that. You were there. You remember that? Yeah. Wow. That's so great. Cool.
There's a funny thing about tribes. You know, we've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, right?
Yeah.
But it takes a tribe to raise a village. And everyone is unique. Everyone has their purpose in the village. Even if it's to pass on that knowledge to the next one to take their role. The blacksmith isn't immortal. It has to teach someone else willing to do that kind of work. And of all the masters in the village, there isn't a ruler in the tribe. There's a council. There's a group of masters with different fields and different skills and different techniques to come together in order to make the decisions that benefit all. We're starting as a culture to remember this, not just in this setting. Coming up here 2 hours to listen to fun radio. And it is, I love it together. But they reminded me of a recent study that came out about what is beauty. And this was a psychological study. So you can imagine how clinical it can sound. Right? But this is what they decided in their study. That beauty is completely relative. Completely relative. It's based on exactly what you can compare the beauty to determine that it is gorgeous or not. Isaac had to go to the bridge to see the palace and the guard, to look for a treasure way outside himself before he could come home and recognize the treasure in his home. It is humbling in that regard.
Yeah.
Had he found it without the journey, would he have put it back in the wall, put it away? Would he have known what to do with it to fulfill his purpose?
Yeah.
And then he started his own life.
Yeah. Your trials are on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a really vital takeaway is that it was that confrontation and willing to converse with that perceived obstacle, that gave him exactly what he needed. It directed him, it was this thing that presented as this awful, insurmountable barrier to his progress, and that wound up just correcting it, putting it back where he needed to go.
Yeah. What he thought the barrier wasn't even the real barrier. Could that be going on in you? Whatever you're hanging on to, thinking is your barrier, thinking is your guard, thinking is the officer.
That's exactly prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you've been pointing out and saying, that's my problem. If that would just get better, I'd be fine, right? Maybe that's the guard. This group of people did this to me. You did that to me. I didn't have this. You have that, right? Only to find out that's just a halfway point. Has nothing to do with what's going on. Right? He didn't find the answers in the journey outward. Isaac found the answers on the inward journey back home, behind the hearth, behind the heart. Can you feel that resonate in you guys? Right? And think about it. Ever since you probably started, school? You've been on some outward journey, right? You say, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to go to kindergarten. Oh, okay. Then what? Yeah, you go first grade. Well, then what? Yeah, you go second grade. Then what? Well, it's funny you should ask that. You're going to go to third grade. Oh, right? Fourth, fifth, sixth, right? Sounds real cool, right? High school. Did you get there? Not so high. Unless you were getting high. Maybe you brought it. I don't know. But, right? High school, not so much high. Right? And you say, well, that must be it. Yeah, you got to go to college. Oh, yeah. Then you go to college, you meet crazy people. Right? You get out of college and somebody says, you go to grad school. Okay. I'm going to graduate and finally get to be over. Right? Now what? Start a practice, get a job. Licensure. Yeah, licensure. Right? You guys see what I'm saying? Like there's all these external journeys, right? You're following this carrot. Right? Might not even be your carrot, might not even be your damn donkey. If you thought about that, right? Some of you in this room, you're following the wrong donkey. And if you wonder if that's you, I'll point you out, It's pretty obvious, It's like, that ain't even your ass, man. You're following the wrong tail. Right? So there's going to be some inward journey. It's behind your own hearth. It's behind your own heart. You know all about it. I don't know what came up in your dyads. You're talking about genius. We're really going to understand what this means. And the Western language has kind of messed it up. It's a Roman word that comes from a North African word that you know, but you don't know that you know. It comes from the genie, the spirit guide. Right? You all look like you haven't seen Aladdin. Right? The genie, the spirit guide, the co-traveler, the divine twin. And in the Roman, it was the genius. In the Greek, it was the daimon. D-A-E-M-O-N, the daimon. And you weren't a genius, you had a genius. Okay? The Greek word for happiness was eudaimonia. When you had a happy spirit, you were happy. The tradition of birthday candles was an outward symbolic representation of igniting the fire within you. Lighting a fire for the genius, right? Lighting a fire for the daimon. The light that burns inside you, a reminder that there's something special, something unique. And it's going to be a tough 3 months because half the faces I look at, you don't believe me. And you're going to have to face me for a while. I don't know if you've noticed, but the world's a shit show. And if you don't know the world's a shit show, I need you to pull your head out of the sand and realize you're being called to be the remedy for the shit show. Because if you weren't being called to be the remedy for the shit show, you would not be here on a Saturday afternoon having somebody ask you to look inside and try to figure out that you're Isaac. What got you here was the poor little old me story. And I'm going to bet that that ain't working out for you so good. It's a little bit too much believing that the soldier, the guard, has power. One singular messianic individual is not going to save the world, people. That should be really evident to you right now. Those times are over. If one strong, powerful, muscular Hulk or Atlas-like Herculean type character could do it, we had all sorts of candidates for that. They can't pull it off. It's not going to happen that way. Those times are over. Individual narcissism and egoic gain got us into the problems we're in. It's going to take a collective solution to get us out. We need to activate the unique genius in every single one of you to be living out your divine purpose, exactly what was seeded in you before you got here. And this sorrow story, this who am I? I'm just small. I'm just insignificant. We're going to work with that. That was laid in there on purpose too, because you had to contrast it against something. But we can't hide. It's a mess. And we need everybody. We need you. You think, oh, but I'm just doing this. How many stories do we have to point to where the littlest creature, the littlest being, takes down the giant? It's important stuff, you know? But we got to start somewhere. There's a dream in there. And I'm sorry if somebody stepped on it. I'm sorry if somebody squashed it. I'm sorry if somebody smothered it. They were wrong. And if you hang around with us long enough, we will get you to a point, and everybody can back me up on this, and I can promise you, I can get you to a point where you will thank them and bow to them in gratitude for it. And if that sounds absolutely impossible, you should hang with us. Because some of these people, you know exactly, who knows exactly what I'm talking about. We got to get there. Because it isn't going to get any better. The Enlightenment, it already happened. And the apocalypse, that already happened too. It did. It was a slow apocalypse. It happened in the middle of the night around 2004, and you didn't realize it. It was the slow, quiet apocalypse. But it already happened. There's been a big churning. The stuff that was on the bottom is on the top. Do I have to bring up examples, or is your Facebook feed enough? Yeah? Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Right? All the stuff that was normally on the bottom, the sediment, the yuck, the shit, the muck, right? It's all where? It's all on the top right now. And everything you call pure and noble and dignified and clean and where is it? You can't find it. It can't get out. The Enlightenment isn't any longer the goal. This is the endarkenment. And it's going to stay this way for a while. That isn't bad news. It just means now everything is opposite the way it was before. We have to bring the light. Notice the pronoun. We. There's no singular going to take the light to the top. We have to bring the light into the dark. Spark what? The genius, the soul, the brilliance. Think about it. The brilliance, what? Your unique light. And so this community of people and the other people you're going to meet on Monday, we're going to kick each other's ass to make sure that we get there. Because the world needs you. And we will find out why. That's part of our journey. We're going to uncover what this is. And we can go as fast as you're going to let us take you. I can promise you this. And we're using these stories and we're using these poems because I want it to sink in when I'm not around. You see, you're going to take Isaac home with you. And Isaac's going to show up in your dream. And when you get back here on Monday, Isaac's going to come back. You see what I'm saying? It's still going to be in there. Found this little ditty on the way over here today. These things find us, you know? Did you text it? It's a text, right? I am the bird that flutters against your window in the morning, and your closest friend whom you can never know, the one that blossoms up from the blind. I am the glacier shining over the woods, so pale, and heavy voices from the cathedral tower. The thought that suddenly hits you in the middle of the day, and the one who makes you feel so fantastically happy. I am the one you have loved for many years. I walk beside you all day and look intently at you and put my mouth against your heart, though you're not aware of it. I am your third arm, your second shadow, the white one, whom you cannot accept and who can never forget you. So we're talking about the genius again, right? We're talking about the daimon. The muse, the fairy, the helper, the spirit guide. Your spirit animal for some of you purple-green people in the room, right? I am the one you have loved for many years. It never goes away. You don't forget it. You know that there's a spark in there. And I will guarantee that everybody in the room remembers it activating somewhere between about 3 and 12. And something happened and it was there and you knew it. And you tried to tell somebody about it and they probably didn't believe you. Do you remember this? You want it again? This is a good one, huh? I am the bird that flutters against your window in the morning, and your closest friend whom you can never know, the one that blossoms light up for the blind. I am the glacier shining over the woods, so pale, and heavy voices from the cathedral tower, the thought that suddenly hits you in the middle of the day and makes you feel so fantastically happy. I am the one you have loved for many years. I walk beside you all day and look intently at you and put my mouth against your heart, though you're not aware of it. I am your third arm, your second shadow, the white one, whom you cannot accept and who can never forget you. You see, just when you think you're walking alone, it's only you. You're the only one with the pain. The white one. See, a lot of you in the room, you fell in love with your darkness. The part of you that you believed that somebody said you were bad, that you weren't doing it right, that you weren't good enough. Maybe you internalized that. And then you started building all these shells to try to cope with that. And the problem is, after you build so many shells, you forget. You forget about that golden, shining self. It wasn't your fault. You had to believe them. They were bigger than you. At the time, they had power over you. But here's the thing. If you're suffering from something that happened to you when you were 12, 8, 7, 5, 3, you're just dealing with a memory. It isn't happening anymore. You're the one keeping that alive. And the longer we keep that alive, then we're not healing the world. Your gifts aren't getting out. Your brilliance isn't up front. We need it up front. And you got to be really careful, because you might sit back and go, oh, but they're doing this charity work and doing all this stuff, and I just play guitar. But what about a guitar player? Who soothes the angst of the ones who have to work hard all day? Who takes people into altered states of consciousness through a language of the soul called music? Who's the one that allows someone to rejuvenate and to relax and to let go for a little while? You want to try to put a value on that? Imagine somehow I could take away all of your music. Like that. That'd be pretty horrible, wouldn't it? Music's important. We can't have somebody running around thinking, oh, I just play guitar. You guys, you follow the thread? Right? And whatever it is for you. Right? Walrus, he's into film. What has film done for you? Language, patterns of speech, conversation, escape, entertainment, myth, symbol, character. How much of you has to do with the films in your life? Right? Most everybody in the room has been living up as a millennial. And so imagine I went and found all of your Disney VHS and DVDs and just removed them from your life. Right? For me, you come take away Star Wars, you come take away Indiana Jones, you take away the Blues Brothers, you take away some Pulp Fiction, some Tarantino films out of me, and I'm not as funny. Yeah. Just be left with my Kurosawa films. And don't take those away either. Actually, shit, you take away Kurosawa films, you take away probably 40% of any kind of base influence of any film we're going to go watch right now. So we've got it all wrong. But it's not our fault. And we are here to rewire it. We are here to plug us in. We're here to make change. We're here to uncover that golden thread in you. It's there. We're not going to give it to you. We're just going to help you uncover it. We're going to do the healing we need to do around it. I've been training them how to do this uncovering process for what? A year and a half or something like that we've been at this? We're prepped. We're ready. This is us living the genius. And now we realize we got to do it for a whole host of others, you know? Just take a moment and check out the miracle. How many roads brought you to here? Think of all the little impossible things that had to occur to get you here. All right, guys. Did you have fun? You guys enjoy that? Surprising? Yeah? Wasn't expecting African drums and stories and poems, were you? Huh? We're going to have a lot of this. It's going to be really, really beautiful. You do a lot of good work. We're doing mentors on Monday. We can get everybody in the room. However, if you really connected with either Andrea, myself, Greg, or Sam, and you want to be like, no, I'm working with you, let them know that, and we'll put that on the preferential list. We'll make it up this weekend. So if you connected with one of them and you want to work with them for your 3 sessions, okay? Find them out and say, you. Practitioner training is at my place Sunday, 1 o'clock to 3:30. The fan will be there. Sunflower is going to be there. I'm pretty sure Saj is going to be there. Bahala's showing up. Moriarty. Cool. Salty will be there. I might show up. Yeah? 6 o'clock arrival, 6:30 hard start. Yeah? Between 6 and 6:30, arrival, hi, hugs, drumming. Yeah? And then we're going to jump in it. Monday's already planned. It's already there. Good stuff. I know, right? Moriarty. All right, guys. Hands in. On the count of 3. On the count of 3, we set each other free. All right, Andrea, count it.
1, 2, 3.
I set you free. Awesome, guys. Brilliant.